Hello, I'm Acting McKibbin. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Thank you for enjoying my previous bedtime story video. I hope it helped most of you have nice and deep sleeps and sweet dreams also. So today I'm back with another bedtime story video, and I'm going to read to you more stories of Thomas the Tank Engine. And we're going to start off with Thomas the Hero. This is the story of when Thomas the Tank Engine discovered that you don't have to fly high to be a hero. Ooh, that seems interesting. Thomas the Tank Engine was working as usual when he heard a high-pitched whistling sound up in the sky. "What can that be?" he said to himself. Thomas looked up and saw a small plane darting overhead. He had never seen anything like it before. "Beep, beep," called Thomas, but the plane didn't hear him. The plane was soon out of sight. "I must learn more about that flying machine," Thomas said to himself. That night, in the engine sheds, Thomas asked James and Percy if they had seen anything flying overhead that day. "We keep our eyes fixed on the tracks," they said. "That way, we're really useful engines." The next day, Thomas was determined to be a really useful engine, but he couldn't help looking up for the plane. He was just thinking that he'd never see it again when he heard that same whistling sound. Whee! This time, he just had to follow it. That plane may have been small, but it was fast. Must keep up, Thomas puffed to himself. It was working. Thomas was catching up with the plane. That plane came down to land on an airstrip near the railway tracks. A little nervously now, Thomas came to a stop beside the plane. He admired the big red dots painted on its wings. "I'm Thomas," said Thomas shyly. "I'm Mitchell the Spitfire, but you can call me Mitch," the plane replied. "I've been practicing for a fly past to celebrate the anniversary of the end of World War II. Mitch explains that he used to be a fighter plane and had helped to win the Battle of Britain. Thomas was very impressed. He wished he could fly and be a hero too. Back in the sheds, Thomas told the other engines about his new friend. Eyes on the tracks, they told him. That night, Thomas's dreams were full of Spitfires diving through the skies. He dreamed that he was flying with them, keeping people safe. The next day, Thomas was in charge of taking passengers to the air show for the big fly pass. As he arrived, Thomas could see Mitch, and next to him was another vintage plane. "That's a Hawker Hurricane," Thomas's driver told him. Hurricanes and Spitfires were the heroes of the Battle of Britain. The show was about to begin. The planes revved their engines and rattled along the runway. With just a little wobble, they lifted into the sky. Thomas couldn't resist following them, but Mitch seemed to be in trouble. His engine spluttered. He came lower and lower and lower until a big splash he made an emergency landing in a duck pond. Ooh. What should we do? Asked Mitch as he started to sink lower. I can help, puffed Thomas. It's an emergency, he said. A dripping Mitch was lifted out of the pond. He was worried, and no one will know where I am. He hurried back to the airfield to get the breakdown train. It's an emergency, he said. He pushed the breakdown train back to Mitch. A dripping Mitch was lifted out of the pond. Sir Topperhat was proud of Thomas. Thanks to you keeping your eyes on the skies, you were able to help the Spitfire, he said. The planes that took part of the Second World War had to be billeted. Like them, you are a true hero, he added. Thomas was happy to hear that after a few minor repairs and a new coat of paint, Mitch the Spitfire was able to take part in many more flybys. He was even invited to London, where he flew low over the river Thames. As he looked down at the river, he remembered the time Thomas the hero had rescued him from a very wet landing. A day at the soccer game. This is a story about Thomas the Tank Engine and the day he and his friend James got ready for the most exciting soccer game of the season. It was an exciting day on the island of Sodor. Sodor United was playing Barrow in the biggest soccer game of the year. Sir Topperhat arrived at Timothy's sheds to give the engines their jobs. I'm going to be the referee, he said proudly. Thomas and James, I want you to work as a team to get the fans to the soccer field at Dryall. Nobody was more excited than Thomas. Sodor United fans loved Thomas because his blue paint matched Sodor's blue soccer uniform perfectly. Everywhere Thomas went, they always gave him the biggest cheer and waved their flags and "Love your blues, Thomas!" Thomas always felt like he was part of the team. Poor James was not so excited. The Sodor fans never cheered for James because he was painted red. But today, James was in for a big surprise. When he arrived at Brighton Docks, the Barrow fans were all wearing bright red. They let out a huge cheer when they saw James's shiny red engine. Red engine, red engine, red engine! James proudly pulled into Dryall next to Thomas. Look, the Barrow fans are wearing red, puffed James. It's red playing blues at the soccer game today. Who do you think can take their fans to the game? The fastest, reds or blues? Thomas asked with a smile. Let's have a race. James chugged away quickly and steamed out in front. Whir, whir, went James's wheels along the track. Thomas was catching up. Too fast, too fast, too fast, called out Annie and Clarabelle. Oh no, red signal, James screeched to a stop. Thomas raced on ahead. Blues are the best, blues are the best. Thomas and James raced around Sojourn. Both engines wanted to win so much that they started to make mistakes. Thomas rushed through the station, leaving Sir Copperhead on the platform. Thomas was supposed to take him to the game. Thomas, stop! And when James arrived at Brenham Docks to collect his last passengers, he was in such a hurry that he pulled away before everyone had climbed aboard. He didn't realize that his last passengers were the Borough soccer team. No, James, come back! Thomas and James had no idea the trouble they had caused as they screeched to a stop at the field. Thomas and James both thought they had won the race, but soon realized the game had not started. So Thomas had arrived with the Borough soccer team. He was really mad. You are meant to work together today, not against each other, he said. I'm giving you a yellow card as a warning. If you cause any more trouble, you will be given a red card and you won't be allowed to watch the game. Thomas and James felt terrible. They had nearly ruined the biggest soccer game of the year. Suddenly the fans began booing. The trophy is missing, cried Sir. The trophy is missing, cried Sir Copperhead. I don't know where I left it. James, if we work together, we can find the trophy and be back before the game is over, said Thomas. This time they were determined to show Sir Copperhead that they were a really useful team. Thomas raced to the docks where Sir Copperhead had been to greet some fans. No trophy there. James went to the ice cream shop where Sir Copperhead stopped for a treat. No trophy there either. Thomas headed to the sporting goods store where Sir Copperhead had been to pick up a new whistle. The trophy was nowhere to be found. Finally, James screeched into Kelthorpe Station, where he had spotted the trophy on the platform. Quick, I need to get back to the soccer game, James shouted. The trophy was loaded into James's carriage, and he raced as fast as he could back to Droyong. Thomas was waiting. They had arrived just in time to catch the end of the game. The fans all cheered for the two engines who had saved the day. Well done, engines, cheered Sir Copperhead. You make a great team. Just then, the soccer ball shot off the field and landed with a pop right in Thomas's funnel. The two engines laughed. The two friends laughed as Thomas blew the soccer ball out of his funnel and straight into the goal. Goal! Thomas's new friend. When Thomas the tank engine caused an accident at the docks, he thought he'd be in trouble. He made up an engine called Jeffrey to take the blame, but everyone wanted to meet his new friend. Ooh. One day on Sojourn, Thomas was in a hurry. He wasn't looking where he was going and bashed into a line of trucks. Bash! Cranky was lowering a crate, but the trucks had shoved Cranky's flatbed up the track. The crate smashed open on the rails, and out jumped hundreds of bouncy balls. Some splashed into the sea. Ooh. Can't believe it. Somebody shoved us, moaned the truck. Thomas backed away, feeling bad. It wasn't me, he pretended. It was, Jeffrey. Jeffrey? Called Cranky. I can't see any other engines around here. Everyone wanted to hear about Jeffrey, but there was no Jeffrey. Thomas had made him up. Next, Thomas was passing the steamworks. Hello, Thomas, said Victor. Tell me about Jeffrey. Is he a steamy? That's right, Thomas mumbled. He's a big red steamy from the mainland, and Thomas puffed quickly away. Soon everyone was talking about Jeffrey. I don't suppose he's very fast, thought Gordon. He is, said Percy. He's so fast that no one even saw him leave the docks. A strange engine on my railway? Sir Copperhead said. Please take me to him, Thomas. But Jeffrey is very shy, sir, Thomas puffed. Sir Copperhead insisted. Thomas had to think quickly. I can't take you, sir, he said. Jeffrey is hiding in Henry's tunnel. Well, I'm sure we'll find him, said Sir Copperhead, scratching his head. I'll warn Jeffrey you're coming, Thomas called, and he steamed away, backwards before anyone could tell him to stop. Thomas sped along with Percy and Sir Copperhead chasing after. Percy's wheels felt funny, rolling backwards at such speed. Wait, Thomas, Percy peeped. What's wrong? Annie and Clarabelle told Thomas to slow down, but Thomas pumped his pistons even faster. When Percy arrived at Henry's tunnel, Thomas was nowhere to be seen. He must be inside, sir, Percy said. Sir Copperhead climbed down from the cab. Thomas? Jeffrey? Are you in there? He called. Yes, sir, Thomas replied. Will you come out, please, Jeffrey? Sir Copperhead said. Thomas pretended to be Jeffrey. I can't, sir, I'm too shy, he called in a funny voice. Shy or not, you have caused confusion and delay, boomed Sir Copperhead. I'm sorry, sir, said Thomas, still pretending to be Jeffrey. I'll be good from now on. Thomas's plan had worked. Everyone thought Jeffrey was real. Then there was trouble. The rails began to rumble. Spencer was racing up behind Thomas at full speed. Fizzling fireboxes, Thomas cried, steaming out of the tunnel. Sparks flew from Spencer's brakes. Screech! He stopped just in time. Where's poor Jeffrey? Said Sir Copperhead. Who's Jeffrey? Asked Spencer, puzzled. He's a red steed from the mainland, Percy explained. Did you pass him in the tunnel? The only engine I could see was Thomas, Spencer huffed. Sir Copperhead was mad. Uh-oh. Thomas knew he had to tell the truth about the accident and about Jeffrey. I'm sorry, he said. Accidents happen, Sir Topham Hatt replied, but stories about pretend engines will not do. It's a shame Jeffrey isn't real, peeped Percy. He sounded like a really fun engine. The end. Well, what'd you think of that? Thomas didn't like to be blamed for accents or whatever. And you might have noticed that he actually made up a big steamy named Jeffrey when there wasn't such an engine like Jeffrey. But I think I know why Thomas did it. He was scared of getting in trouble, even though he doesn't like getting in trouble. But it's okay to be scared, but sometimes making up engines like Jeffrey or anything would not be necessary or a good idea. I hope you enjoyed today's bedtime story video. And for what Shelley Duvall said, when you write stories, you can make believe anything. And when you dream, you can make believe anything too. So I hope you all have sweet dreams and hope to see you next time.